What up party people, and welcome to another e-bike review. Today we have another Engwe bike. It is the L20 Boost. What do you get for your money? I'll tell you. 20-inch wheels, 4-inch wide, lockable shocks on the front, 13 kilogram basket, big lights, nice metal mud guards, weighs in at 34 kilos, so quite a hefty beast. 7-speed Shimano Tawny gear set, 250 watt motor, 25 kilogram capacity luggage rack on the back. Brake lights, not sure if you can see them from there, I'll bring you in and show you in a minute. Little flappy seat, it's a hardtail, no suspension, 250 watt motor. The battery's coming in at 48 volt, 13 amp hours. What can I tell you about the bike? It's part of their L20 series. They're a bit of an icon, to be honest with you. After 22.2 miles I've covered so far to date, this has been a bit surprising compared to the other two that I've tried. I'm not going to ruin it now. Watch the ride footage, it'll all become clear. I'll give you my final thoughts at the end. Obviously you've got a kickstand, you have got mechanical disc brakes. The light can be mounted on the luggage rack or down low. Metal pedals, they hold your feet fine. Removable battery with a key, saves people nicking it. That's what the flappy seat's for, so you can pull your battery out. Doesn't fold, anything like that. It is a torque sensor bike, my favourite sort of bike. Although this one is a little bit surprising, not necessarily for the good. BMX handlebars, nice colour, computer type screen, up and down, on and off. Very, very simple to do. Press and hold one of the buttons, it can give you a walk mode. And as the name suggests, it has got a boost button. So what that means is, when you get to a hill, you start puffing a bit, press the boost button, delivers more power to the motor, makes the hill effortless. That only works for 60 seconds at a time. Half twist throttle only allows you to go walking pace. That's generally the first look at the bike. I'll whip you around. It is decidedly filthy. Other than that, that's the bike. So let's start at the cockpit. As you can see there, you've got a lovely screen, nice and visible in daylight. That boosts up your pedal assist. I stayed on 5 for most of the day. On and off button, press and hold to access you into the settings. I've got one battery bar left after 22 miles. You can be the judge on whether that is good or not. It has got an estimated range of 50 miles. Got a bell instead of a horn, which is good. Not too intimidating. There's your BMX bars. There's your standard Shimano Tawny. Twist grip throttle there. And your boost button, which works a treat. Going around to the front, as you can see, you've got the cargo rack that is good for 13 kilos. Mounted to the cargo rack, there's your light, metal mud guards, big fat tyres, lockable suspension. The welds are slightly agricultural again, absolutely fine. They're not hideous by any stretch of the imagination. Some of the Engwe bikes come out really, really smooth. Some come out a little bit like this. Somewhere to put your bottles, metal pedals, big old battery, plush, plump saddle. After 20 miles, I know I've ridden a bike, but you know, my monkey stump isn't destroyed. 250 watt motor. There you have your 7-speed Shimano Tawny. Let's see if I can get them brake lights working. Brake lights on the back as well. 25 kilo Dubry luggage rack, securely bolted for all your carrying needs. There's your disc brakes. There you have your bike in all its glory. As you can see, it's filthy. I've done a bit of off-road, plenty of hills, still got a couple of miles to go back home, so I will have done 25 miles. It does state it's got a 85 kilometre range, give or take 50 miles. 25, 30, I would imagine. It was a fully charged battery. I did have it in pedal assist 5 for the most part, but it is a torque sensor, so I was putting in quite a bit of effort myself. Anyway, you have a quick look at the ride footage. I'm going to then come back and give you my final thoughts on the bike. As normal, I will test to see how it pedals as a bike. No power assist. First gear. Gear shift absolutely fine. No issue pedaling it. What I would say is I've got the seat at its highest position, but I'm not getting full leg extension. Still very comfortable, upright riding position. Up into fourth gear, fifth gear. Yeah, rides absolutely fine. You can, as always with the big fat tyres, feel the rolling resistance, but definitely rides fine as a bike. The handlebars, BMX style handlebars. What old ever? Sorry about that. BMX style handlebars, quite wide, which is nice. Yeah, all in all, a very comfortable ride. So, coming up to our first 10% hill. And I will say, with this being a torque sensor, which I much prefer, it's instant when you start pedaling. But, due to the leg position and the seating position, I can already, in fourth gear, feel this hill when I'm climbing. I really can. So, change down into third. Still really feel that. Let's try this boost button. This boost button, when you press it, is meant to give you, and it does, a massive boost. So you get a minute's worth of boost before it shuts off again. That is brilliant. Brilliant and bad. Because obviously, I'm climbing up a 10% hill, which would normally be a doddle, but I was actually feeling it in my legs. But no, press and hold that boost button, and all of a sudden, it gives you a lot more power. I've got mixed feelings about this bike at the moment. I'm definitely putting some effort in. As usual, when you're pedaling up to top speed, let's get there. That's about as much as you want, which is 22 miles an hour. Very comfortable ride, feels very stable underneath. But again, my legs definitely feel like I've done a bit of a workout. Up one hill. I don't know how many hills you're going to come across that are longer than a minute to ride up, but that could be a failing. With it being a torque sensor, the power increases the more you're putting in. It does feel like a really underpowered bike. And when you're getting up to the limit, 15.5 miles an hour, it sort of blips as soon as you drop below it, giving you that sort of motion. It's a bit weird, which is a shame. So I've tested 2 other L20 type bikes and they've been phenomenal. So again, I'm coming up to another hill here, not a massive hill. I'm in 7th gear, top level of power assist, and I can feel it. I can definitely feel that on my legs. Press that boost button and hold, and there it is. Probably chucking out 500 watt, 750 watt, which shows that the motor is capable of it, as is the controller. Which means, when you unlock it, which I'm sure you're able to do, you'll be able to easily get you 22 mile an hour, 24 mile an hour, maybe 28 pedaling, and climb hills like a pro. Up the top of the hill, release the boost, and immediately I can feel that in my legs. I'm almost on the flat in 7th gear, doing 11.8 miles an hour. Yeah, it's Not an easy bike to pedal around on the slightest of inclines. So cruising along at 15.5 miles an hour on the flats, this bike's in its element. You know you're pedaling, not too much. Any sort of inclines, as I've just mentioned, yeah, it's not the best, it's not the most powerful. You really do have to go through your gears. I mean, this is a very slight hill. I'm down in gear 2. I can feel the engine working, but it's effort, it's proper effort coming up here. Not gonna lie to you. I don't know if there's something in the settings that are wrong. I might have to go and have a look, but I'm not loving this at the minute. Oh, Jesus. Stick again, not the bike. Definitely need more height on the seat. Yeah. I'm not sure what they've done. The last L20 dual battery one I tested, which was a 250 watt motor, cadence sensor, was a much more forgiving bike than this. Let's get that boost on again. That's what it should be. But you only get a minute at a time at it. And I'm not rocketing. Still only doing 13.5 miles an hour. So it's a hardtail bike. Seat's fairly plush. A lot of weight on the seat because your legs aren't fully extended. So it's harder to take the weight off your seat bone. As you can tell by my breathing, yeah, this 25 mile loop today is going to be a bit of effort. That boost on the go. That's nuts. I might have to go check the settings, but I haven't fiddled with anything. Oh. Still in second gear, and this is the slightest of slightest inclines. So now coming down through a gravelly, bumpy sort of track. Got to be a little bit slippery under wheel. 20-inch wheels, 4-inch fat tyres. Hardtail, as I mentioned before, but the fat tyres do take up and absorb some of the shocks. The riding is absolutely fine. Mechanical disc brakes, let's have a little look. Not bedded in yet, yep, got us down. I was doing about 15.5 miles an hour then. The pickup is very quick when you start pedaling, but it's not delivering much power, as I've said 4 or 5 times. Do my usual, bit slippery here. Up and over this tree, which never comes out on the camera. No problem. Feet are holding my pedals fine. Still sitting a little bit low. For commuting at speeds like this, currently doing 16 miles an hour, 15.5 give or take. On the flat, no issue. It is very disappointing on those hills. With a little bit of bumpiness here, doesn't really be affected with being a hardtail. The front shocks work fine. But any sort of incline, you immediately say, I can't keep talking about it. I will keep talking about it, you're going to hear about it a lot. I've got another 20 miles to do, yeah, I've only done 5 so far. And I'm already thinking about taking my gillet off. It's a gilet! Shut up, I ain't French. Coming down the rooty, bumpy cycle track now. And again, the lack of suspension at the back really ain't a problem. Could possibly do with a suspension seat post. The ride is absolutely fine. Easily controllable. There's a lot to like about the shape and form of this bike. Definitely suited to the smaller man or the ladies. Because I'm distinctly average in every way, and I would say the seating position is definitely a little bit low for me. The surging you get when you're give or take around the speed limit is a little bit off-putting. And if I compared it up against the last UK legal bike I tested, which was the Engwe, was it X20? Engine X. There's no comparison, and that was a cadence sensor bike, and I like a torque sensor. Apparently this has got a 50-mile range. Not surprising if it's only delivering this amount of power. Again, I am on the slightest of inclines here, and I mean slight. All right, I'm in 7th gear, doing 12.5 miles an hour in pedal assist 5. And I definitely know I'm putting the effort in. Let's put a bit more in. It's the torque sensor, so it should give me more when I'm pushing more. Doesn't feel like it is. So all these people that say you're always giving positive reviews, you shill and stuff like that, I only say what I see. 2 other iterations of this bike, the SE and the dual battery, I've tested, and they were far better than this. Better's the wrong word. Far more powerful. But if you like cycling and you just want to take the oomph out of the heels of that boost button, because that boost button definitely works, but I would say that's the power it should be giving you all the time. Because it isn't balls out, throw your head back power. It's ability to climb a hill power. Comfort-wise, not bad at all. The grips are nice. I am wearing gloves purely because it's freezing. But as I say, I'm going to have to lose my top because I'm warm riding this with all the effort I'm having to put in. Aboo! The front cargo rack is a handy bit of kit, as is the rear. And as I say, on things like this, we've got no issue till you hit a hill. And yeah, you've got to have that boost. It's weird. So you have got a nice and easy to read colour screen. Pedal assist up and down on it. You've got, if you press and hold the top, that'll give you your lights. On off button, you can also enter the settings. By that, you've got a bell. Twist throttle, which is a half throttle on one side, gives you walking pace. Pardon me. Brakes the wrong way round as usual. I mean, it's made for this. It's really no problem for this. But unless you're Dutch, you're not living on the flat everywhere you go. I suppose if you're in Norfolk. And I have no doubt there are ways to unlock this bike. I am riding it as it comes legal. Out of the box. All right, let's have a look here. There's your lights on. They seem to work fine in here. Not the darkest, so riding around town and commuting, this bike definitely isn't an issue. My monkey stump ain't feeling too bad either. Which is a bit weird. This is a hardtail. So for the next 10 miles, got a gravelly, bumpy, muddy cycle track. Lost my first bar of battery on just shy of 10 miles. It's made for this sort of job. Not an issue at all. What I will say though, the effort I've put into this, I probably put less effort in riding the P20, which is the single speed folding jobby from Engwe. And as for loading it up for stuff like bike packing, this has got a maximum carrying weight of 135 kilo. I'm 95 kilo-ish, which means another 40 kilo I can put on here. You've got 25 kilo on the back. Can't remember what it is on the front, say 15, 12, something like that. But with that weight on it, although it'd be nicely packed, I can imagine hills would be an utter nightmare. The throttle, if you can unlock it, yeah, would be great. But you got walking pace otherwise. So pulling away from stuff, although it is instant on the pickup when you pedal, could be an issue. Let's go down the slippery, slimy, lumpy, bumpy cobbles and see if I go for a Burton. Again, zero problems. The gears out of the box have been really slick, but the same with all the other bikes. They don't do well at higher speeds, so you could do with an extra ring. Or I did stop and have a fiddle with the settings. Watched one video on how to unlock it. It didn't work, but I literally did watch one video and the bloke was speaking like Stiletto from Danger Mouse. So it could be different dependent on where the bike is sent to and from. Which brings me on to another thing. When this bike turned up, firstly it was sent with an EU plug, or an American plug and an EU adapter, which obviously doesn't work. This has only ever happened once before with Engwe, and they did instantly send me out the correct adapter, which is a little bit loose fitting, but it does work. Also, the front wheel assembly with the spindle, the bolts, the locking nuts and spacers weren't in the box, so I couldn't put it together and test ride it. That's why it's taken so long. Did speak to Engwe about it, and literally a day and a half, 2 days later, I had them in the post, sent separately to my door. So that's off for the customer service, Engwe, but they should have been in the box. First time I've ever had an issue with an Engwe bike, with the exception of the charger. But you know, you can put that down to whoever's servicing the order in the EU rather than Engwe themselves. I'm a little bit gutted because the L20 range is a bit of an iconic bike. From the advent of these lower priced e-bikes, the old L20 was renowned for being a beast up hills and carrying stuff and unlocked the speed. Whereas this is the opposite. And again now, I'm not sure if you can tell by my body and the jerking, it's giving it that every time I'm around the top speed mark. A little bit annoying. Also, the torque sensor. Although it is a torque sensor, because you've got to have pressure on those pedals for the motor to be working, you can't ghost pedal. It doesn't change with the amount of effort you're putting into the bike. That I can tell anyway. I could be wrong. I could just been spoiled over all the bikes I've tested over this last year. But I've tested Engwe torque sensors, and this is nothing like them. This part of the ride though, where there's no hills, has been an absolute joy to ride. But a like for like comparison to the other L20s and the other 250 watt motors I've tried from Engwe, this is definitely lacking in the power department. Probably a deliberate thing, but it's weird that the boost button doesn't give you more speed, it just gives you more power. Just give us more power, get rid of the boost button. The battery's not huge, 48 volt, I think it's 15 amp hour, might be a 13 amp hour. I would have said at the beginning of the video. You can remove it, lovely job. But as you can see, I'm putting more down and it's not giving me more. Up to the limit. Keep you posted. Loving the bell. Completely inoffensive. The bike looks inoffensive as well, with the amount that they're clamping down on e-bikes. I think you'd be hard pushed to actually get a tug on this. Well, you'd definitely be hard pushed to get a tug on this. You'd be hard pushed to get past 15 miles an hour. If you're in a rush, definitely not the bike for you. Couple of miles into the rough stuff now. Definitely missing the rear suspension. It's not terrible, absolutely not terrible. And certainly better than having a skinny tyre bike hardtail. But, yeah, it's compacting breakfast, let's put it that way. So, just lost the second bar out of 5 and I'm at 14 miles. Do the math. I've stuck to power assist 5 because it is a torque sensor and it shouldn't matter what power assist you're in. Let's crank that down to 3. Not really much difference. Maybe a little, not a lot. I'll leave it there for a bit. Here you go. A couple of bike wankers up ahead, taking up all the path. Nerds. So I've just stopped to help a family out for a bike ride with a puncher. Straight back on the bike, straight back on the flat, and very easy bike to ride like this. Again, gonna keep mentioning it, sort of stop start when you get up to the top speed, but just stay below that speed, you're fine. Monkey stump feeling it a little bit, I'm not gonna lie to you. But I always say, no such thing as a comfy bike seat. Definitely not a bike to get if you want to go anywhere in a hurry. So, I'm 19 miles in, 19 and a half, down to my last bar of battery. Currently in second gear on a long hill. And I'm on and off this boost button. The boost button is definitely needed. And when you do press it, it feels like magic because it gets you to where you need to be. My argument is, why not just give that level of power all the time? I don't know. Got quite a long steep hill just coming up. I'm going to go into third gear, press the boost when I have to, and hopefully it will get me right the way to the top in the minute. But after this, I've got a really long hill, which is going to take more than a minute. Come on. It's getting me up there all right. But as you can see, I'm definitely putting effort in. And there you go. Don't know how long that was, but it done it. Just getting to the bottom of this last hill, which although isn't the steepest, probably a 10-12% hill, does go on for quite a while. So you may see a little bit of fast forward in here. That's now starting to hurt my legs. I'm only in fourth gear. Boost button does the do. Let's see if it can make it to the top. If it can make it to the top of this hill, there aren't many on a day-to-day that are longer than this. Obviously there are some that are longer than this. So we're still going. Boost is still working. Yeah, just about made it. Lovely job. And it's just kicked off. There you go. Perfect timing. So just coming to a bit of off-road now. I'm not going to take it mad. It isn't an off-road bike. Very slippery, very slimy. Chalky. Front suspension doing fine. As you can tell by the weight, that has gone for a burn. Just make sure there's no one around this corner before I drop in. And we're off. Yep, handling absolutely fine. Back end is bouncing a bit, but you'd expect it to. I'm once again losing my camera down low because it is very bumpy. No problem at all off-road. So, as you can see, the bike functions absolutely fine as a bike, but compared to the rest of the Engwe range that I have tried, it's definitely the most effort I've had to put in on a bike. The power delivery is a little bit disappointing for me. The boost button, when you use it, is absolutely brilliant. It carries you up those hills, no problem whatsoever. I don't know why they just can't give you that power and do away with the boost button. The only other one I had with a boost button was the X20, I believe it was. That boost button give you plenty of oomph and a bit more top speed. It was a much faster bike. I'm 99% certain that this is unlockable. I had a quick look, did try to unlock it, it didn't work. It was only one video I looked at. I was in a bit of a rush. Riding it on the flats, no problem at all. The seat height you could definitely do with being a bit higher on the seat, or smaller stems so your legs can go further down. I did find it a bit cramped, unable to take the weight off my old derriere. Seating position was very comfortable. The bike on the flats absolutely nailed it. The boost button is a must when you're going uphill. I would not like to load this bike up and use it for bike packing, purely because the way it performed up hills, the slightest of incline, a 5% incline, and you could seriously feel it on your legs. I was going through the gears. Gears changed absolutely flawlessly out of the box. As I think I mentioned in the ride footage, when this comes in the box, as all Engwe stuff is, it is all packaged absolutely fine. But the charger that come with it was an American plug with an EU adapter. Second time that's happened, but that's the second time out of a lot of Engwe bikes. They did rectify it straight away. Also, the front wheel assembly was missing out of the box. They sent it straight away. I literally had it within a couple of days. So, customer service, brilliant. The fact it was missing out of the box, you know, a little bit of a Engwe have been absolutely superb. What I will say is, out of all of the bikes I've tested of Engwe, this will be the last one I pick. I'm just trying to think. The P20, which is a single speed folding tiny little bike, was better up hills than this. Every other Engwe bike I cannot rave enough about, and the concept of this, if you are in the middle of a town and you're just pottering around doing a bit of shopping, doing a bit of commuting, it absolutely nails it, absolutely nails it. And maybe I've been spoilt with stuff with a bit more grunt, but the power that this gives you, I found it to be lacking. Still a comfortable bike, and I'm sure, as I say, you can unlock it. If it's unlocked, is that going to have a drastic effect on the battery? I would say so. Fully charged battery, going to get 25-30 mile out of it. You know, pay your money, you take your chance. If you've got any questions about this bike, please feel free to ask. I'm not an e-bike specialist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a bloke that hates cycling, and the only way I can get out doing it is to have a motor attached to the back wheel. I still managed to do 25 miles so far, nearly. I'm not out of breath, you know I've done it, and I've probably put more effort in than I have with any of the other bikes. Still works, still got me here, still went downhill. The downhill and off-road was man enough to shake my camera away from its mount, so yeah. The hardtail isn't necessarily a problem. You can feel the bumps on some of the bumpier stuff, but the fat tyres do take a great deal of that out. What else can I tell you about the bike? Nice looking bike, nice looking bike, comfortable bike to ride, and all that jazz. Until next time, happy Christmas and ta-ra.